Have you ever wondered why your doctor reaches for that prescription pad so quickly? Did you guys know that 80% of clinical departments of schools receive funding from the pharmaceutical industry? And so I've got some studies that I'm going to pull up on the screen, and we're going to show how good people go to school to learn how to help other people and are expecting that, but are instead trained inside of a system that is heavily influenced to do one thing, which is prescribe pharmaceuticals. A lot of us are presented that doctors and medical institutions and universities are neutral, but the majority of them are funded and influenced by pharma. Check this out. Financial ties common between U.S. medical schools and drug companies. They found that 60% of department heads had a financial relationship with a drug company as a consultant, member of a scientific advisory board, a paid speaker, an officer, a founder, or a member of the board of directors. 2/3 of departments at medical schools and large teaching hospitals had relationships with industry that involves research equipment, unrestricted funds, support for research seminars, residency and fellowship trainings, continuing medical education programs, which I have another paper about that, continuing CMEs. So overall, they say 80% of clinical departments and 43% of non-clinical departments had at least one tie with the pharmaceutical industry. Presently, the pharmaceutical industry funds about half of the cost of continuing medical education programs in the United States. This is from a paper called Pharmaceutical Industry Financial Support for Medical Education, Benefit or Undue Influence. And so check this out. The industry, speaking about the pharmaceutical industry, believes that it will recoup $3.56 in increased sales for every dollar that it invests in continuing medical education. That's a really good return on investment. The question becomes, are they doing this for the health of the human being, or are they doing it for the extra $3.56 for every dollar that it spends in So this is well noted, guys. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is because we all should be well noted. Here's another paper, Pharma Influence Widespread at Medical Schools Study. Medical students aren't given enough instruction in the types of conflicts of interest and their implications, warn some physicians. Of course, because we've got, 60% of department heads had a financial relationship with the drug company as a consultant, member of a scientific advisory board, a paid speaker, an officer, a founder, or a member of a board of directors. Do you guys know what that means? So that means that more than half of the department heads of the people that are responsible for training up-and-coming doctors have a relationship, meaning that they're getting paid to be a consultant, they're getting paid to be on their advisory board, they're getting paid as a speaker, as an officer, a founder, or a member of the board of directors, which essentially means they're given a position in a pharmaceutical drug company where they are receiving money in return to be a, quote, paid speaker or a, quote, consultant. Now, is their actual job consultant, or is their actual under-the-table assignment to make sure that students are taught a certain thing and not taught a certain thing? Now, not taught would be this. They aren't given enough instruction in the types of conflicts of interest and their implications. So they may not be taught how certain medications could be dangerous, or how certain procedures could be dangerous, or how there's other procedures that may be more in alignment with people. Undergraduate and graduate medical education and the pharmaceutical company. The apparent lack of core curriculum on the ethics of interactions with the pharmaceutical industry. This one is talking about how the pharmaceutical industry interacts with the people, doctors, or the people training people to become doctors. And there's really no training to help people with ethical and legal guidelines to regulate industry interaction with medical research, practice, and education. So the very people who are entrusted to look after the students don't have any training on what's right or wrong. The pharmaceutical industry in 2001 spent $19 billion on promotion, which includes direct-to-consumer advertising, medical journal advertising. So now they're advertising within medical journals, product samples, and costs associated with sales representative interactions with office-based and hospital-based physicians and pharmacy directors. So they're sending out agents to interact in our doctor's offices and to promote the influence of this industry. Guys, think about a doctor. Do you know anyone that's in med school? What are they doing? They're working. They're studying, they're taking tests, they're researching the assigned research for a long time. So you have like a 17 or 18-year-old that is, top of their class and gung-ho, going to go help people. I'm going to be a doctor. They go to university with a gnosis that they're going to go to med school. So they're getting good grades, they're studying, their nose is in the books. Then they go to medical school. I mean, there's other steps to this, but they're in medical school. Then they start their training, and 10 to 15 years go by where they're just completely influenced by the universities. There is no outside influence available to come in. And that's one of the reasons why they're so busy. These people are sometimes pulling all-nighters, just being programmed by the universities, which are 80% influence, they've got one tie with the industry, 80% of clinical departments, 60% of department heads. So this is by Global News. Big Pharma pours millions into medical school. Here's how it impacts education. Pharmaceutical companies want to establish a positive relationship with these medical students that can then go forward. The drug companies make contact early on with medical students when these students are at an impressionable time in terms of their professional life. It's just starting. So this is similar to Camel cigarettes advertising to kids before they know any better. So back to the 17, 18-year-old who's just in school, 24, 28-year-old, 30-year-old person. Guys, there's some arrested development when you're in school for that long. You are focused on that program, and there's other parts of you that are arrested if you're not also learning about other methods of what's important. Like, for instance, there's a split between psychology, there's a split between the mind and the body in universities. And this split prevents any doctor who's treating physical symptoms, such as heart problems. There's no connection that they're taught about between how that could possibly be from a issue in the psyche, whether it's emotional, whether it's mental. And that's because, and even when you go over to psychology, it's the same thing. Psychiatrists can prescribe medications. Psychologists can't. And so that's like the whole thing is like in psychology, you're just striving to be able to prescribe medications because you're looking up to who? You're looking up to department heads who have these amazing ties with pharmaceutical companies. And that's what you're expected, and that's what you're programmed to think of as success. Everything success-oriented with the quote doctors, guys, because doctor, before the pharmaceutical industry took over, and if you guys aren't familiar with how the pharmaceutical industry started, as Rockefeller, the oil tycoon, developed and funded an extra income stream. And that was oil-based pharmaceuticals. And so that's how the pharmaceutical industry was born. Between 1995 and 2004, Apotex is so these are all companies, right? And it's talking about the donations to the University of Toronto. So 2.875 million. This is another company, 4.5 million in the span of 1994 to 2020. This is another company, 1.6 million. This is another company, a few hundred thousand. Another company, a few hundred thousand. So this money doesn't just go to the university. It also goes to individual researchers who run labs. So they're going to individuals who are highly impressionable by dollars. Bristol Myers Squibb Pharmaceutical gave an infectious disease physician $180,000 over the span of 3 years, 2002 to 2005, and another doctor a 2-year fellowship of $120,000 in 2001. Now, why are they doing this? That's up to you to decide. that is up to you to decide. There's a lot going on, and this is just so that we are open-minded to other avenues of support for our health, things like diet, things like emotional support, things like fascia work, body work, make sure that the body is free of restrictions, both physically and energetically. What types of foods, herbology, where do you guys think the pharmaceutical companies get their drugs from? The origins of a lot of this is from plants. It's from plants. And they essentially look at plants and see how they can manipulate and copyright a formula of different aspects of raw material, right? That needs to start with a material, usually having to do with plants. They've gotten a lot more sophisticated so they can start using human-based components, right? So sometimes we're getting blood from another person or a group of thousands of people. Sometimes we're getting waste products from other industries, and sometimes we're getting products from the earth, raw materials, even things like oil, like I mentioned. So there's a way that other cultures throughout history have already found some of these solutions by using certain herbs. That's all accessible to us. So next time something comes up, start looking at the root cause, like what causes this dis-ease, what's causing this illness, and you'll start to do some research and you'll figure out that maybe it's a issue with an organ, and then you can start looking into how to support, how to cleanse, how to detox, how to nourish this particular organ, this particular gland, and you'll start to see that it's not really just about that organ and gland. It has to do with the holistic environment of you, not just with your food, also with how you wake up in the morning, how you go to bed, how you spend your days, how long are you outside, and you're going to start to see the connection of everything. And the thing that you thought was a dis-ease that you needed a pill for is really just where the chain broke. And the actual, quote, dis-ease is how you were living. It was I wake up too early after not sleeping, after watching 3 hours worth of TV and blue light and going to sleep next to my alarm clock, next to my phone that's on, blasting me with EMF on the 13th floor of an apartment building where I have like 50 other Wi-Fi routers blasting through my system. And then I put on my shoes and I go downstairs and I get in my car, my electric car, by the way, and then I go to work and then I sit down in a cubicle with no windows around me, and I'm just hunched over in a seating position, staring at a screen, not moving my eyeballs, just staring one fixed 2 feet in front of me position, barely moving my head, barely moving my body, just sitting down. Just glutes, which are the biggest muscle groups in the body, is just turned completely off. The blood flow's not going through the body for how long? Well, today it's 10 hours, some days it's 14 hours. And I get up, a few hours later, I get my 30-minute break, which isn't a lot. So I just go get what's in the vending machine and I come back home and then I get into the car and I go home. At the end of the day, I stop at the gas station or the fast food place. I get some garbage to put down the hatch so that I feel like I'm nourished, even though that's not what happened. So when I get home, I don't feel like I'm nourished. So then I reach into the cupboard and I eat a whole bag of chips or a whole bag of popsicles. And then I make my way over to the couch because I have no energy, because my body's just been like attacked all day long. And I sit down on the couch and then I enjoy watching somebody else live a fulfilling life, and filled with a spectrum of emotions. And I enjoy myself doing that for 2 hours while I'm like literally, I ejected myself from my own body and I put myself into this screen body, and I have a satisfying life experience for a couple hours. And that was what makes the whole day of me treating myself like garbage worth it. And then I go to bed holding my phone as my head hits the pillow. I never at all the entire day rested. I never allowed my brainwave frequencies to fluctuate. I went from sleep to awake immediately, full on, all day long. And a little bit when I was on the couch, I might have been in theta there, but I was in a complete passive mode, no creativity, just passively getting inputted and programmed. And so you go to the doctor when something goes wrong and the doctor says, well, I know just the thing that's going to help you because I trained for 15 years by people who are paid by the pharmaceutical company to make me believe that this is the way. You need this because this thing in your body is broken. No talk about why it's broken, but they are very specific, and sometimes they guess, but a lot of times they're specific and knowledgeable about the thing in your body that's broken. Again, no talk about why it's broken. You've got a thyroid issue. No talk about like, have you been kind of like holding in your entire life how you truly feel? When was the last time you spoke truth that really mattered to you? Are you screaming at the top of your lungs hateful things? Even if it's internally in your head, is that running around constantly that might impact this area of the body? Are you sitting down in this slouch position that doesn't allow flow through here? How is your breath? There's no talk on that, like opening up this gate. It's just your thyroid's broken because it's not doing this and this and this. And if we put this pill into you, it will happen again. And there's some side effects, which is going to interrupt some other systems in your body, which you'll come back to me and we'll handle that. Take this for a couple weeks and we'll check in and see if you need any more. All right. So I hope these studies that I provided helped out. So someone's saying, and I'm going to say that this is, everything I've said is not to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or illness. But Mark Harris is saying, I healed exactly what happened to me. They instantly said I needed surgery on my testicles before some nerve pain instead of asking me what I do and what I eat and how I move my body. So I healed it myself. I skateboard every day, at least 1 mile, and eating natural foods and taking Shilajit. Guys, happiness is necessary for health. Laughter, love, these things are necessary. If we box that out of our life, things are going to start to go wrong and eventually something's going to break. And the thing that broke is not the problem. Usually it's breaking because it's trying desperately to get what it needs. And it's causing you pain because it's like the part of your body is praying up to the grander organism, which is you. Whatever breaks is usually not the cause. That's the side effect of the cause. And the cause is your life. Your life is actually what's wrong if things are going wrong internally, emotionally, mentally. And so the answer is not going to be because you didn't take a pill. Pill is a crutch. And yes, it can be helpful if you do not choose to commit to yourself at this level. But just know that that crutch is going to lead to more other crutches. And so you're making a choice. And even when that has to do with shortcuts like Ozempic, which is now being sued for billions of dollars, guys, know that the white coats are bought. And everyone to a degree is working. Even me. I have products and services that I've sold my entire life. I was my own gyms. And so yes, I was biased to believe by the dollars my members were paying me that movement and knowledge of the body and development of accuracy, balance, strength, speed, coordination, agility, flexibility, development of these different aspects of yourself allows you to be a better functioning human being, a better contribution to society, to all of us. I was biased to believe that because I was receiving money to teach that thing. However, I wasn't programmed into that. I wasn't led by people that were paid to basically take all my mental space for 15 years of my life and make me study this thing from the time I got up to the time I went to sleep for 15 years and make me take tests and essentially assault my soul with this program so that I was forced to believe in that prescription. No, I was a human being that looked at a whole bunch of things. I have my own life experience and I made a choice that if I'm going to be a professional at anything, it's going to be based on my varied research, what I feel I'm best capable to provide services in and what is going to work for the most people and what crosses into a territory where I can sustain my life doing so in a comfortable manner. And it's the same thing now. I do the same thing now. I believe our hair is the antenna to receive signals for what is needed. The same as animals have whiskers. It all makes sense. Yeah. I mean, just once in your life, guys, see how you're designed. See how it feels. I didn't shave my face. I didn't shave anything for 5 years. I eventually, for business purposes, I shaved my face, but I know what it's like to not. And so those of you guys out there who've shaved your legs your entire life, your armpits your entire life, cut your hair your entire life, shaved your face your entire life, plucked your eyebrows go through the process once in your life. I'm inviting you. See what it's like to have a unibrow like I did. To be a little embarrassed about it and then eventually let that go. It's super freeing, and it'll change how you view other people as well. It won't be, I will never look down at another person. They're going through a process. They're progressing and they are where they are. See, just looking in the mirror and seeing exactly how you were designed, It saddens me that people don't know what that's like because they've manicured themselves. They manipulated themselves to a degree every single day that they're not even close to the actual design of their body. And I'll leave you guys there. Take care.